Good evening, everyone. I'm WCIA 3 meteorologist Jacob Dickey here in the forecast center. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for parts of Sangamon and looks like Sangamon County only here, as a storm moving in from the west from Jacksonville area is heading in that direction. What I'm doing here is just getting some things turned on, and we're going to watch this storm and keep an eye on it here. Again, the time now is 8:26 if you're joining us live. Our first severe thunderstorm warning of the night. Sangamon County, including the city of Springfield, primarily areas from downtown Springfield to the south. We'll get more on that in a minute here. What I want to do, though, is set up a few things real fast here and check in the chat. Things are sounding good on my end. They look good on my end. Hopefully they do for you as well, as we're going to talk about this severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for the area. So let me just get my Springfield camera set up. We're going to look at our Springfield camera here momentarily. It's got a great vantage point looking off to the west there. So I think that's what we're going to check out here as I get that set up and ready to roll. The severe thunderstorm warning does not include Morgan County. I will say this, the storm does have a history of producing some strong winds. The Jacksonville airport reported a wind gust of 51 miles an hour at 8:02 as this batch of storms was rolling on in. The core of the storm itself now is to the south of New Berlin. It's traveling along and south of Interstate 72 in from the west, moving east at 25 miles an hour. It'll be in Curran, Jerome, Chatham, north of Auburn, north of Pawnee. You get Rochester right here. The state police headquarters is here. Lake Springfield sits there. And you've got some other places in here, Glenarm, and even the city of Springfield. Downtown Springfield is right there. Let me pull up the first, before we look at the weather camera there, we'll take an area-wide view. This is our only warning, but it will likely be the first of many tonight. We don't even have a watch in effect for the area right now, and we think the chance for severe weather will begin to rapidly increase, especially after midnight tonight. Just one storm on the board here, primarily a hail threat. Could be some strong winds as well. It's had a 51-mile-an-hour gust again in Jacksonville, but most other places now are looking clear. Where we'll look for our main event tonight, a line of gusty storms coming on through. It's going to be up in northwest Illinois and southeast Iowa. Starting to see some indications that some stuff may be trying to form, but we may very well have to wait until midnight or later for that here. We're getting a little bit of an appetizer with this storm now in Sangamon County, and we may see it pulse up and pulse down. We may see a few other cells like that. What we have to do is we have to wait for the cap to erode away and for the jet stream, the low-level jet, to really crank on in and allow us to get some instability and use that instability with this storm. So this storm, not going to affect a lot of folks. The severe thunderstorm warning does include the city of Springfield, though. It does not include Decatur or Champaign. We don't have any storms in the neighborhood as of now, but area-wide, we think the chance is there before all is said and done tonight that we will have the chance for some severe storms here in central Illinois. So just making sure everything's set up here. What I'll do real quick is I will show you the latest on Future Track. And then once we do that, we'll bounce back and cover this one storm here, because there's folks that are logging on and saying, well, I don't have any storms in my area. What about my area? And I totally understand. You know, we want to know what's happening in our neighborhood. The threat is still there tonight for just about everyone and anyone here. So let me pop this over here. I got to drag in a graphic and have it set. So this is our Future Track, and our Future Track that generally does a decent job here. Now that we're getting into the thick of things, notice here we're coming into the 8, 9 o'clock. It's been trying to pick up fairly well. Something may try and get going here, but look what happens as we go later on into night. 10, 11, 12. Things are remarkably quiet for the next several hours here. But by the time we get to midnight, look off to the north and west. That's going to be the source for our storms. Early on, these storms, as they form in southeast Iowa, west central Illinois, will very much have a large hail threat, but that threat will transition to more of a wind threat here. Notice as the storms seeming to come more linear in nature and be some segments, those lines may have some winds of 60 to 75 miles an hour with them as they push to the south. This is 2:30 in the morning. We haven't even gotten started yet here. A late night for severe weather. Just make sure tonight you have a way to get weather alerts here. By the time 4 a.m., Future Track says 3, 4 o'clock, now we're approaching the I-72-74 corridor, and this batch will continue to push to the south and to the east, mainly a wind threat at this point, as it starts to accelerate and push to the south and the east thanks to that low-level jet. 5, 6 o'clock, finally it's out of here, but still by tomorrow morning, widespread showers and a few storms. That main line, though, now causing problems in South Indiana. This is why we've got that level 3 risk. for late tonight. We mean late. You have to be patient with this severe threat here. Again, the main threat is going to be damaging winds. We're going to have Jack and myself. Kevin's going to be here all night long watching it and keeping you updated on our digital platforms. But we do want to make sure we cover our severe thunderstorm warning here. That's going to be for Sangamon County. This does not include Sherman, does not include Mechanicsburg, it does not include areas north and west of Springfield. You head off that way towards Menard County, you go towards Ashland. Not there. This is more along and south of 72 to the west of the city of Springfield. The I-55, 72 split in the south side. You take 6th Street north. Here you go with 72 and 55 on the east side there. Up here by Sangamon Avenue, north of the side of Springfield, not really going to get much of the severe weather from this. It's more south of Springfield. So there's a Cracker Barrel in the exit down here, south by the state police headquarters. Lake Springfield sits right there. You head further south down to Auburn Pawnee, the exit there. Highway 104, there's a big gas station there, a Subway. That point north. Glenarm, of course, Chatham, of course, as the storm moves to these. The threat mainly being for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. The storm itself moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour. So it's not all that fast moving, but still moving along here. This storm, I tell you what, has produced some pretty impressive lightning here. We've been watching the lightning over a while and keeping an eye on things, and you're really starting to see some of that lightning pick up here. And of course, we're looking at the Capitol, trying to set the focus in here and keeping an eye on it. But the lightning very much prolific with this storm. Storms tonight will have a lot of lightning and thunder with them. And I'll bring the graphic full for you so we can watch it here. And keep an eye on it. And I'll adjust that focus. And Kevin, we'll see if we get you a mic. And Kevin just walked on in. He got out of the lake, so that's good news. And is back. Let me turn this camera a little bit. And I'm going to do a focus reset. So it's going to kind of zoom in and zoom out. And I apologize for that. And should be doing a focus here. There we go. Maybe. I have a little trouble with the camera. Here we go. Now we're starting to move it. You can see all the electricity that's in this storm. And there's quite a bit of it. So I'm trying to focus and get this to work. But there we go. You can see it kind of glitching in and out and focusing. We're fixing that. We do not have a thunderstorm watch as of yet. These storms, again, they're kind of the appetizer to the main event. Really struggling with that focus here right now, folks. Sorry, I think that might be some. A little bit better? Yeah. We're kind of struggling here. I apologize. We're going to do one more focus. You can tell the lightning, though. There's no watch yet, and I don't think there needs to be a watch until midnight. It's an isolated threat at this point. But it is still going to be midnight and on. We'll have a watch come eventually. And if you've got the WCIA 3 weather app, then we'll let you know right away. So it says it's auto-focusing. While that's doing that, let me just bounce back here and take a look at our alerts here. No watch on the board. We do have some flash flood watches out in Indiana. There is a severe thunderstorm watch also for Fountain, Vermilion, Park County, but we don't have anything in Illinois. Just our one warning in Sangamon County for now, and that will go until 9 o'clock. I don't expect to stay here until 9 o'clock. More than likely, if there's a watch issued, it's going to come probably closer to the midnight time frame, maybe before that. I don't even think that the news at 10 tonight with Kevin and I being in the studio, I doubt we even have a watch by then. If we do, we'll update you, and of course you get all those alerts and things of that. But we'll keep you updated here for that. So I think my camera finally is fixed. Boy, we are just having some issues here. Let's do another autofocus and get that to work. The storm itself, though, has quite a bit of lightning. And it's been a prolific lightning producer. We can see the lightning flashes and the rumbles of thunder. The core of the storm now is about 5 miles northwest of Auburn near Loami. Pushing in, it's going to cross Highway 4 near Chatham very shortly here with 60-mile-an-hour winds likely, even some quarter-sized hail mixing on in. Lots of lightning, lots of thunder. These storms tonight will be loud. And they will be very much, if you got dogs, you got kids, not going to like it. It's going to be a long night for them for sure. Not everyone tonight will get a storm. I do want to mention that. But the chances there that we will be dealing with storms here throughout the night. And again, we're looking at late tonight. You can try and stay up and see if you stay awake for it. It might be a little bit hard at times. We're talking 2, 3, 4 in the morning for that. So it'll be something else here. So there you go. You can see the lightning. Pretty impressive. And seeing all that lightning out there, a prolific lightning producer for sure. I think what it is as I try and focus a little bit better on the camera, the lightning is so constant that the camera lens doesn't know where to focus. And that's, I think, is my problem here. This is the Springfield camera. I keep... Kevin's going to try and pop it in there for me and fix it. I think, is that about as...
Yeah, it should be a little better.
Yeah, it should be. So, but you can get the idea. This storm has a lot of lightning with it. I've got the lightning tracker, the lightning counter over here, and it seems like every few seconds there's a new bolt that hits and a new one here. Lots of lightning with this storm. And that's going to be the case for any storm that forms this evening, and especially tonight after midnight in the region. That looks a little bit better there. The boss comes in, takes care of it. So,
are we on the right direction?
we are. We're looking to the west here, and a little bit more south. The storm is going to pass more on the south and west side between Chatham and downtown along 72. So you can see the lightning there, of course, in Springfield. Let me pull the chat up and see. And see if there's any questions. Of course, I rolled in from vacation, so the suit. And I've got all these boxes in the back, so they're kind of bunching things up for me. I didn't get a chance to really keep things in here. So, you know, vacation does that to you. All right. So there we go. You see all that lightning there. Let's go back to radar and talk about it here again. We're just here on digital platforms, and we'll be coming in and out throughout the evening here. There is a show at 9 o'clock. That 9 o'clock show will be on WCIA. The 10 o'clock show will be on WCIA. And we'll have live updates. Kevin will be here. I think Kevin's going to take the lead for the shows, but I'll kind of watch this digital stuff while Kevin's working behind the scenes and keeping you updated. This is the early, the appetizer to the main event. That main event looks like it's after midnight through 6 a.m. really for parts of the region, but we do have this one storm with a warning now for Sangamon County, including the city of Springfield. The lightning on there is just spectacular to look at here. And we're going to catch that rain really coming on in here shortly as well with it. And that may give us a great vantage point. So to give you a little downward view here, this sits on the big hotel downtown. And we're looking off into the distance there. And we're looking more south and west as that storm comes on in here. This is the exit out there by Highway 4 on the southwest side of town. They've got the sporting goods store up that way. Memorial Hospital, to give you an idea, is that way. And then straight south there on 6th Street takes you off to the I-72 and I-55 split on the south side. So definitely getting lots of lightning, lots of thunder coming on into town with this storm. And it's going to be a loud storm for the city of Springfield here with 60-mile-per-hour winds, the storm warned for, and quarter-size hail. So here we are looking at that core of the storm. Again, the areas from Auburn along 104 towards Pawnee. The 104 exit at 55 where the gas station is and the subway points to the north here. This storm, though, starting to take a little more of a south and southeast turn, slowly but surely, still more east than not. The core of the storm will probably stay south of Springfield, but the warned part of the storm here between Loami and Auburn and Chatham and between the triangle there, Glenarm sits right here. You've got a little bit up further behind this box, and let me turn off some of my data to show you that. There's a Cracker Barrel that sits about here. The state police headquarters sits here. You've got I-55. The power plant's right over here. The lake, Springfield, sits right in here. This storm may be more of a Pawnee-Auburn concern at this point, but still, you look to the north here, some of these bright reds and even some pinks out towards 72 to the west towards the Morgan County line. There's going to be some rain that comes into the city of Springfield here and really causes some rain and wind. Again, this storm did have a measured gust of 51 miles per hour in Jacksonville at 8:02, so we'll likely see at least 40 to 50 mile per hour winds in Springfield. The one site we have sits at Lincoln Airport. That's in the north and west side, so we probably won't get a good sampling of this, but sometimes what we can do is we can watch and see if there's any power outages. Let me just pop up my power outage numbers and see if we've got any reports from Morgan County. It looks like there are no outages to report in Morgan or Sangamon County. That could change, and that may, be one of those issues where something goes down now, the report may be a little delayed. But for the most part, city of Springfield, we'll get some heavy rain, some gusty winds. The strongest part, though, that has my eye is going to sit down here a little more south of town, south of 72 near Loami, and points to the south and to the east. We're continuing this warning until 9 o'clock. And that's when Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lyda will have an update on WCIA. I don't know if you've got your mic on, Kevin. If you're, he can turn it on in the switcher there and chime on in if you want.
Let me see if you can hear me. Yeah, I think you can hear me now. All right. Yeah, so here are our storms. We've been talking about them, all day, kind of waiting to see, what's going to fire, what's going to pop here, and so we've at least got this guy here that's starting to. It seems to be kind of getting a little less organized, kind of a little more choppier than what it was on radar just a little bit ago. Like you said, I've not seen any wind gust reports. Of course, the airport. They're on the east side of town, so it's going to take a second to get that official report that comes out there. But you can see that that storm coming in. Actually, maybe even a little bit of hail might be coming in there towards the northwest side there. Some of the radar little indexes that we look at there, indices kind of showing maybe some hail that could be embedded in there as well. And between Jacksonville in the New Berlin area. Boy, that lightning, though, pretty intense. And you can see that storm coming over the top of our camera now as we're starting to get the rain in downtown Springfield. So, again, as you mentioned, numerous more storms are expected as we go throughout tonight. So this is only the beginning of what could be kind of a long night here. We'll see if this storm can kind of stay isolated on its own, if it starts to develop more of a line. And but right now it's kind of confined there to Sangamon County and putting on quite the light show here tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the storms, I've been looking at some of the real-time lightning track, and we're dropping a flash every few seconds here with this particular storm. So very much a lightning producer. These storms tonight will have lots of lightning. If you think back to the storms last weekend on Saturday, these storms produced a lot of lightning with them. Because there was a lot of energy aloft, a lot of instability. We've had instability in the atmosphere all day. The good news to keep the day dry is that we had a lid in place, a cap in the atmosphere. It keeps those storms from exploding. There was a little boundary that actually pushed through the area here. And if you look at the base of those storms, they're actually fairly high up. These storms are more elevated in nature. That's good. And the cold air seems to be undercutting them, which is a sign that this is less of a tornado threat than anything. I'm, in fact, not really worried about that. And it doesn't even look all that much impressive compared to what it did 5 minutes ago. But more of a hail threat, more of a wind threat with this particular storm here. And so that's what we'll watch here. You see these storms kind of pulse and decline and pulse up, and they decline a little bit. And that sometimes can be the case for them. As we watch them here, and I'll show you the radar real quick, that latest scan, not looking all that impressive. If you're sitting in Auburn looking to the north, you've probably got a good view in Sangamon County here. But we'll watch these other clusters here. The storm really, even back in Jacksonville, Kevin, did not look all that impressive.
Still got a 51
and the 51 mile an hour wind gust came out of that.
I think that's kind of the nature of why we think that later tonight these things might be up to 70 mile an hour winds because there is plenty of that energy to get transferred down. Such a warm day. One of the key indices we look at is something called CAPE and instability, and man, that was maxed out today. Some of the higher numbers that you see in the 4,000 or 5,000 range, and typically that wanes as you get into later into the night. But that's actually going to sustain itself pretty good here tonight and allow for these storms to tap into that when typically you start to lose it. But there was so much today, it takes a while to kind of deplenish that, and you're going to have plenty of energy with the storms still at midnight tonight. So that's why we think that the severe weather threat is going to go well into the night. You can see there's our camera from Springfield, as now we're starting to get taken over by the raindrops there. Plenty of flashes of lightning.
Yeah, I do want to mention real quick, Kevin, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. We're talking about how these really didn't have much to look at on radar. That new warning now does include the city of Springfield for that little cell to the north here on the west side of Springfield, north of 72. They've extended that warning all the way to the east down 72 up to Illiopolis, almost into Macon County. It also does include a sliver of north and west Christian County. And so now 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. It includes, essentially we can say, most all of Sangamon County. If you're not in the warning, you're still hearing the thunder and lightning, seeing the lightning in Sherman, even off to the north and west towards Ashland. A little sliver in the northern part of the county, a little slither down towards areas south of Rochester. But essentially, this is a Sangamon County issue now starting to spill a little more to the east into northwestern Christian County. That second warning here. Let me pop on some of my data, Kevin, and then what I'll do is I'll let you talk for a bit and I'll get some digital posted with this warning here. Again, just one storm. Look at all these other storms, by the way, down here. They've had some big storms in Indiana. They didn't have a cap there like we have here. But this particular batch of storms remains for 60 mile per hour winds and some quarter size hail. Lots of lightning. That's the other thing, too. Again, we say that a lot. both of these warnings. One goes until 9 o'clock, one goes until 9:30 for the area. And so that's what we'll continue to watch here. So, Kevin, I'll let you do that. I'm going to get some social posted, and you're going to take a look at the sky cam there.
Sounds good. Yeah, so there's the sky cam there, as you can see, where we've got. Are they controlling this through the control room, or is this we're doing it through ours, right?
Yeah,
we're controlling.
We're doing it
okay.
through ours. So I can see that you've got that.
Okay,
You can
cool.
walk up in front of the quad and talk.
Gotcha. Okay, so there is a look at, you can see, so there's the Capitol building that normally, that you can see pretty clearly, and it's getting obscured by the very heavy rainfall that is coming through there right now in the Springfield area. There are flashes of lightning again. So now this area actually has the warning. So downtown Springfield, you actually were not in that warning initially. It was kind of on the south side there, and more towards the Chatham area and Auburn. But now the secondary one getting issued there for winds, and they're saying maybe quarter-size hail. Hail to the size of quarters, a possibility, as that storm comes in there. So down the line, you're kind of looking at Mechanicsburg there, Illiopolis, as this storm is going kind of east, southeast, the general movement that these have been. We'll see if this tracks a little bit more south of I-72 or it kind of stays right along the line there. But definitely as you get into portions of Christian County down the line, you are under that warning as well. That's going to be until 9:30 p.m. for Christian and Sangamon County, the newest warning that came out. Again, we're talking 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch size hail. Those winds could get even stronger. So what I'll do is now switch over to, we'll take a look at the radar view with this and show you what the storms look like. And again, kind of broken up a little bit, but there's just quite a bit of energy that's out there. So that's enough for these storms to tap into that. And we'll kick back the radar now. And here's a view of that. So take a look at this as well, because, man, boy, Indiana, they have just been getting pounded. They've had tornadoes. I saw some pictures of baseball-sized hail that they had over in Hancock County, kind of south of the Indianapolis area. But these storms out here from Bloomington, and you get down towards, Shelbyville, some big-time storms down there. Now, for us, obviously, what we're looking at are these two cells here. Look at the rest of us. Look at Champaign and Danville and Effingham and Decatur and Gibson City and Watseka. You guys don't have anything out there right now. So the focus on our storm in Sangamon and Christian County as we zoom into those right now. And you'll have a better view of that here. And you can kind of see the two warnings that we've got, kind of a northern and a southern warning on this. And so that storm is going to hug right there along I-72 and maybe just kind of south of it. So the warning does get up, into the Mechanicsburg area, but I think it is going to take a little bit more of a southeasterly trek. There are actually two warnings, one down here from Chatham and the other one here that's coming right over Springfield as we speak, where I'm sure there's going to be lots of heavy rainfall, lots of lightning with this, and you may get some of those wind gusts. Actually, we're going to be able to see probably in the next few minutes report from the ASOS, the weather station out at the Springfield Capitol Airport, and we'll see what kind of winds this thing has. That's going to go over that here if it's not already about to. So tracking the storms here for you, and it's going to be, I think, a long night as more storms are expected.
Yeah, you're right about that, Kevin. It will be a long night here. We're watching those storms, of course. I want to show, if we can, on the Max 2. And if you can either stick either the camera in there for me or...
Oh, yeah, I got your...
There
yep,
it is.
there
Perfect.
Yep.
So that update continues to keep us in a level 3 risk. We'll kind of run through it, and then what will happen is we'll probably get off our digital platforms for the 9 o'clock show on WCIX. And then maybe if we need to come back at 9:30 and then get off to the 10 o'clock news. So some housekeeping notes there for you. But the level 3 risk, we'll talk about what we expect the rest of the night for those of you that are on. That orange area, that enhanced risk continues all the way through tonight, even into early tomorrow morning. We're talking late tonight. That continues to be the case, and it includes essentially everyone in the WCIA 3 viewing area. There's a little sliver here. We can look at the exact details. Just understand the risk and the impacts. That's what we want to focus on here, and that's why we're going to use our severe weather impacts to talk about. Tornado threat is low. It's not zero. It's low. We'll say that. It's conditional if you're watching us in Cumberland County, if you're watching us in Ford County, if you're watching us in Menard County. This includes you. Large hail. Some of these storms early on can have a hail threat. They generally will transition to a wind threat late. high winds, medium to high is what we're putting it there. Medium high, a little bit higher than medium, not quite high. And that's because some of these winds may very well in those linear segments have some 75-mile-an-hour winds, if not a little higher than that. Some of that hail early on could be up to golf ball too. And we think that storms will start erupting to our north and west. This initial round here is not all that much, but it is still something. It's kind of the appetizer. The main event will start erupting in Iowa, northeast Missouri, and in western Illinois sometime between now and about midnight, and will continue to move to the south and east. We may not see it in parts of the central Illinois area until we get to the 2, 3, 4 a.m. time frame. So we're talking late. That's the one thing we're stressing here. You're going to bed and say, well, there's no storms. They were wrong. You got to wait, and you'll wake up to these storms. They are electrical, they are loud, and they'll even have a severe threat all the way on through across the region. Here's the tornado risk, only a 2 out of 10, and it's conditional. We can't rule it out. Maybe we get a spin up somewhere, but that doesn't seem to be the threat. Early on, as these storms fire to the north and west here, where that red area is, that's the large hail threat in parts of central Illinois. We transition to a wind threat later. Midnight to 6 a.m. seems to be the prime time for us here across the region, and that's what we expect. So what we recommend is you download the WCIA 3 weather app. If there's an alert issued in your area, you'll get that right away. And then you can follow us on our digital platforms. They will probably all night. I have a feeling we'll probably do live streaming on the website, on the app, as well as on TV, if need be, with these storms coming on in here, just to keep you updated. And so that's what we expect for as far as this goes. I will mention again that severe thunderstorm warnings do continue for parts of the area. Did get some storm reports that come out, and maybe they've plotted here. Just got a report out of Springfield of a 52-mile-an-hour gust. That came from a storm spotter, and of course the airport in Jacksonville had a 51-mile-an-hour gust. These storms certainly have some punch to them, and will continue to do so. So one last check here before we sign off and get ready for our 9 o'clock news. We'll jump back on at 9:30 if there's still active warnings. If not, we're going to take a break. And then we'll come right back for the 10 o'clock news, and if we need to jump on, we're going to be here and cover you on our digital platforms, online and on TV. But this cluster of storms, as unimpressive as it looks, still does have a hail threat as well as a wind threat. Primarily, we think the wind, the bigger issue here, some 60-mile-an-hour winds and perhaps some quarter-size hail. Haven't heard any reports of that, but the wind reports have been coming in, even though it doesn't look all that impressive. Those wind reports have been coming in a little bit here with 50 to 55-mile-an-hour gusts. Somewhere very much could see 60, but we'll say the last time, this is not the main event. The main event is late, late, late tonight. I probably said that enough. You're probably saying at home, you get it. So that's what we have here for this particular storm. The warning, Sangamon County, the southern warning goes until 9. They extended it for the northern cell until 9:30. Kevin's going to have live coverage on WCIX. News at 9. That's the sub-channel to WCIA, CBS. You can go there and watch live and keep it updated. We can come back then if needed at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Same thing. We'll be on CBS, do live coverage if needed, and we'll keep you updated on digital. We'll mention small hail being reported in pea to penny size in downtown Springfield. And we think the National Weather Service also updated us on some other information. They're still on board with the damaging wind and hail threat late, so it seems like the forecast is on sync. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey here with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. Thanks for joining us here. We're going to sign off. Be kind, be nice, and stay weather aware tonight. Have at least 2 ways to get severe weather information with storms rolling on through the area. Likely in the next hour or 2, we will have a severe thunderstorm watch be issued. I'll be updating some graphics on digital and pushing that out for you. You can get the alert first if you have the WCIA 3 weather app. Stay safe. We'll be back tonight as needed, and you can count on WCIA 3 weather to keep you